person that will give you the connection to it. Would it be
Well,
available today?
it's gonna be on Canvas, it won't be today, it'll be within a week, but it'll be on Canvas, and we gotta figure out how to get into.
Okay, all right, as long as it's on camera, I don't know how to do it.
Don't worry, I'll ask them, and then we'll get into it
Well,
together.
Louis can help you as well.
Well, Louis didn't put it onto Canvas, he put it on his YouTube.
Okay.
We don't wanna put it on YouTube, we wanna put it on
This is
Canvas.
beyond me now, so that you
No
figure it
problem,
out.
yeah.
Okay. All right, people, let's go into unit number 3. I looked at it already, and it's more complicated than it seems to meet the eye. But if you have your book in front of you, on page 76, this is what Edna Coffin does, as you might remember. She has a square where she introduces the different topics or subtopics of the unit, and then she goes into vocabulary, of which you have the vocalized column, and then you have the unvocalized Hebrew, and then you go into grammar, etc. I more or less follow her order, but I go into it differently, as you well know. So when looking at the vocalized Hebrew found on page 76, and as I see each word, I'm gonna go into repetition to bring back clarification to your knowledge. The first word is Oreah, and right next to it is Oracha, and the question you gotta ask yourself is, why does Geveret Coffin give us 2 words for Oreah? She doesn't bother to tell you that one word is masculine and the other word is feminine. That's the difference. The Oreach word is Zachar, is masculine, and the Orachat word is feminine. And as you take a look at that word, try to mentally syllabicate the word as I will choose some of these words and break them down into syllables on the board. Any word that deals with Aleph, the Resh, and the Het deals with visitation. Listen to my additional comments. Any word that has the root, the Aleph, the Resh, the Het, deals with visitation, deals with being a guest. And I guess that's what she writes here. The word Oreach is a guest. That word visitation also deals with another word. And that other word is the word Arucha. Arucha is the Hebrew word for a meal. Arucha is the word for a meal. M-E-A-L. To which you now have to ask the question, what does that deal with the word guest? And now watch what I meant when I used that phrase earlier today in a book I just reviewed called In God's Presence, suggesting that the commandments of the Torah, both the written Torah, Biktal, and the written Torah, now taught on my commentary called Torah Sheba'al Peh, is somehow the way in which the Jewish tradition understands the presence of God and how God's presence is felt according to Judaism. It's by acts of doing, by acts of fulfillment, by acts of obligatory behavior, among other things, I guess. There are ways in which you get to it, by learning, by studying, by this and that. But the main thing is that word of meal, the word meal and a guest. Something you may not know. Every meal you have, whether it's the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, your door should be open for someone knocking on that door and saying, could you please help me out? Moments ago, a former student came into the classroom. I remember him from classes. We also had a private moment of crying. I know now why. We will help him. This is a Jewish way. This student, by the way, is a Muslim. Makes no difference. The word Oreah is a guest. I told him to come sit here. He will when he has that opportunity. Now, the word Oreah, as far as the top is concerned, Zev Garb's God's presence is irrelevant. She wants to teach us Hebrew. All right, back to Hebrew now. The word Oreah has a patach and a het. This is known as the stolen patach, the patach hanuv. Get down that phrase, the so-called stolen patach. I'm almost sure I used that phrase last semester. The name of the vow is patach. So we're not running out of ink here. Patach hanuv. Again, every word I write on a board here, I have a story behind it. The word hanuv is related to the Hebrew word to steal. If you happen to be engaged in stealing, call a ganav. A ganav, a ganav is a thief, a ganav, a ganav. A ganav. Notice how I did not hesitate writing out that word ganav. Every time I write something, my mind goes elsewhere. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go elsewhere. Look at that word ganav. Hebrew words that have the following vocalization of patach, nagesh chazak, and kamatz, and then the last letter. Words that have these last two syllables deal with professions. A profession. Could you give us another example? Yeah, the word Hazan. My good friend Baruch, first and second week I meet this character in my classroom, he's bringing a shofar to school. He's blowing up the whole campus with a shofar. Why not? It's Rosh Hashanah coming. Do you remember this, Baruch?
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. And Baruch wants to be a rabbi one day. Or before he become a rabbi, become a Hazan. A Hazan is a cantor. I'm trying to think of another word, the word dayan. The word dayan. The word dayan. You should not have a problem spelling with vocalization. A dayan, again, the dalid begins the word, so it's big and careful letter, tagesh kal, patach, tagesh kazak, kamatz, patach, kamatz. A dayan is a judge, a religious judge. There's the other type of judge, is a separate one, called a shofet. So I find it interesting, dayan, chazan, and the word ganav. Ganav belongs to the same category, not that the ganav is a rabbi who likes to steal or chazan who likes to cheat, but a ganav is a profession. And I'll tell you something about your computers. I was blown away, not just by Christians United for Israel, the way they look like Jews now, but I was blown away by a picture from Chabad Lubavitch, who has a rabbi with his beard, who happens to be a black man with his beard. So what's the big deal? They're black Hasidic rabbis, and they belong to Chabad Lubavitch. Only this black rabbi, with a nice smile, a nice beard, has a picture of himself when he was 18 to 23 years old. He was a prisoner with tattoos all over his body. He was part of the hood. He met a rabbi in prison. Hey, rabbi, I want to talk to you. Before you know it, the rabbi did not say goodbye to the black man. Let's talk. Not only did he convert to Judaism, he became a Hasidic rabbi. He's all about Hashem.
Yeah.
With a black beard, black face, black hat, and in prison.
And now he declares I'm putting in work for the Lord.
No, but the point is, it makes no difference who the hell you are. You can always turn it around. And his job is no doubt the neighborhood. How many blacks are joining Judaism? I can't even tell you. The one I gotta be concerned about for Yirmiyahu is the woman who says, I'll show you how to kiss the missus. You gotta see that woman. She's a darling woman. She's married, but she says, I'll show you how to kiss the missus. Don't watch black women when they want to teach you how to kiss the missus. Don't keep you in that house until you're no longer the Oreah. You'll be the Baal Habais. You'll be the owner of the house. Anyway, it's adorable, and I don't know what's going on, but there's a surge of learning Judaism right now, and it's nice to see. Anyway, the word Oreah, that's stolen patach. Again, the stolen patach is due to the following. Whenever you have words that end with a frontal vowel, by frontal vowel, I mean vowels which are not the sounding vowel. If the last letter is a laryngeal letter, such as the het letter, such as the ayin letter, these two in particular will have the tendency of having a stolen patach, meaning by that, a patach underneath the last letter, but pronounced before the last letter. When I see the word oreach, I don't say orecha. I don't read it as I see it, orech, and the het with a orecha. I read the patach before the last letter. In other words, it looks like this. This is the way you're sounding it. Orei, oreach, oreach. The patach should be written before the het, but it's written after the het. It's really a sound, not part part of the valve system, you might say. It's called a stolen patach in Hebrew, the patach hanuf. Please keep that in mind. You'll see words now where the last letter is an ayin or a het letter, not the aleph or hey. The ayin and het. A patach underneath it implies that the vowel before is frontal. The word that comes to mind is the word shomea. Shomea. The word is to listen, to hear. Notice how I write it, shomei. It's like the word shomer. Now you have to get your verb in simple present tense. Well, in this case here, the root is shin mem ayin, not shin mem resh. The ayin letter will have a stolen patach under it, shomea. It's not a real vowel, it's just a glide from the frontal position, the A to the I, and shomea. And the orachat is the feminine form, orachat, feminine singular. And again, the two words have connection with the word arucha, the word for meal. And again, let's go over some of this. Words ending with a kamase are signs of feminine singular. Words ending with segotav, shortav, kirgitav are feminine nouns, normally speaking. And we're going to check that out as we read some of these vowels here. The next word is the word acharei. The word acharei has its own problem. Look at that word. If I were to break it into syllables, it'll be CV with the aleph and the patach, then CI and CV for the second syllable. Question, what about that patach? That patach is a short vowel, isn't it? A short vowel should be part of a closed syllable. Where's the closing feature? Where's the closing feature? The chet doesn't take a dagesh chazal. The chet doesn't have a shvanach under it. The chet has a chet patach under it. So how do you figure this out? This is called closed, potentially closed. Skurabakor, potentially closed. The patach is potentially closed. Acharei, acharei. I guess I could also say in acharei. Shvanach. But for some reason, the shvanach opened up to a patach, replaced the shvanach, acharei. But whenever you see a patach open that way, the next letter is laryngeal for sure. And we say it's potentially closed. Skura makor. Koach means by power. Koach. Acharei, people would say, acharei. Isaiah 8, that's the way it goes, that's the way it's explained. The next word, ish and anashim. That's another word that's a problem. The word ish could mean a person. The word ish could mean a man. And in this case here, she puts in brackets with the Hebrew vocalized the letter Zion. She means here the word person, a man, a male. And ish is masculine. You would think the plural would be ishim, but it's anashim. Where's the word ishim? Doesn't it exist? It potentially can exist, but the Hebrew doesn't have ishim for the plural of ish, but anashim. And anashim itself comes from the Hebrew word enosh. In scriptures, in the Hebrew Bible, there's a word enosh.
It's a name, isn't it?
How's that?
It's a name of an individual, Enosh.
Yeah, there's also the name enosh. Yes. But there's the word enosh, which is more or less a man, you might say, of dignity. Whereas ish is just a person, and enosh is more dignified. From that word enosh, aleph nun shin, there's no doubt where we get the word anashim. Otherwise, why not ishim? There's no ishim to my knowledge. She doesn't explain it. She just simply says ish and anashim. When it comes to anashim, you should be able to slavicate C-I and C-V, right? And C-V-C for the second syllable. And ish is a person, any person to be ish. But normally ish will be a male person. Don't fight that at all. The next word is problematic. She doesn't bother to translate the word et. She just simply says direct object particle. You say to yourself, that's a word, those are three words. how many times do I use the phrase direct object particle? You don't. It's a grammatical insert. And the word et does not translate in English. But you need to know that word et in Hebrew whenever you have a sentence which has a subject, a verb, and a direct object which is definite. Definite means the definite article. The definite article is your English word the, T-H-E. So, for example, watch my Hebrew. I see a person. Ani ro'eh ish. I see the person. Ani ro'eh ha'ish. No. Et ha'ish. You insert the word et before you say direct object, the person, ha'ish. Ani kotev ivrit. I write Hebrew. But then again, Hebrew is spelled in English with a capital H. Isn't that a direct statement? Should it not be a nikotev et ha'ivrit or et ivrit? Watch my mind right now. On the other hand, what do we tell you about the word ivrit? It's not a noun. It's an adjective. Whoa! How would I know that in English? You don't. That's why a class with Ze'ev is terribly important. Let's try that one more time. One more time. In English, I write Hebrew. You spell the word Hebrew with a capital H. In English, you're told, whenever you have a capital letter that begins a sentence, or it is a proper noun. If something's a proper noun, it means it's definite. I see Baruch, I see Chai, I see Eli, I see Yirmiyahu. When I say I see Yirmiyahu, I don't have Baruch in mind at all. When Yirmiyahu says Ayefa, I now have a question. How can this guy be transgender? But that's okay. We don't make distinctions anymore. And Chaya is a new world now. They no longer distinguish male and female. I'm serious. You don't know what's happening. You people are part of the world. I'm not going to be part of it anymore. There's no more distinction between male and female. I curse the day if that ever becomes my life. I mean, the word Torah, I don't know what he said, but all right, he probably said something cute. That word Torah is feminine, feminine, feminine. And nothing can be more beautiful than men, former prisoners, with tattoos. I doubt if this Lubavitcher rabbi has got his tattoos removed. I can't believe he could remove it from his body. He probably got an approval. First of all, he's a convert. And then with the conversion, there's another process involved. But he's all about Lubavitcher rabbi now. When the Hasidim carry the Torah, they're not like you and I, they just carry it. They embrace it, they hold it. All of a sudden, the Torah now is neutral, is masculine. Do you understand the problem with this? Language can do that to my head. Since I know language. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. So this particular word, Hebrew, in English is a noun, I guess. In Hebrew, it's an adjective. And an adjective, you have to use the word et. If I say Safa Ivrit, and then Hasafa Ivrit, then definitely I have to use the et.
So an adjective is a descriptive word?
That's right.
And verb is action, and noun is person, place, or
That's
thing.
right. When we say languages in Hebrew, we don't bother to say the word Safa. But the word Hebrew, Ivrit, these are all adjectival forms. They're all adjectives, modifying the word Safa. Anyway, the word et is going to be used all over the place. In fact, she has it as part of a grammar, as you notice in the square there, in a particle and used with a definite object. All right, definite object means a noun which has a definite article, the THE in front of it. We will see that when we go into readings. The word harbe is many or much. Harbe. Notice the spelling of harbe when it's vocalized. The hay is a patach 100, the shema and the iteration is fanach. That explains what is a dagesh cow in that letter. Harbe. Next word, next page, haver, havera, and all those words there. Okay, let's pick up on that word haver. Haver is a very common Hebrew word. I'm sure you've heard that word before you walk into your first Hebrew class. The word haver, the shorish of the word haver is chet resh. And again, part of what I'm doing this hour, whenever you see words, also see the root of the word and combinations that go with the root. Or just one of the, one of my problems with these pens, I've got to close them up if I don't use them. All right, the chet resh. Any word that has these three root letters, there's a connection. The word that comes to mind with haver means a comrade, a friend, someone who's close to you, you might say. The word chibur is a composition. And back in my day, when you didn't have AI, and when you didn't have computers that wrote your essays, you always had a good haver, and you say to haver, come on, I'll get you something. Why don't you write my chibur? Is that the connection? Not really, but it sounds cute. A chibur is a composition where you connect sentences and paragraphs. A haver is not an acquaintance, it's a friend whom you basically can share things with. And then the word chevra. Chevra is a group of friends. Whenever I address myself to a number of scholars who know each other, I always say, dear chevra. The chevra. The camaraderie. Okay, so anything with those three combinations, the chet narration. Question?
I'm gonna ask a little more advanced question.
I'm not hearing you.
I'm gonna ask a little more advanced question.
Go ahead.
So when people speak Hebrew, it depends on the context, but sometimes when people say chaver and chavera, it can translate to boyfriend or girlfriend. So why is it, how come it doesn't say yedid or yedida? Because that also means friend for male and feminine.
Which word also means friends?
Yedid for male and then yedida for female.
All right, let me take this question right now. The word chaver, chavera. The word chaver, as he correctly points out, can also be more than just simply an acquaintance, a friend, particularly a chavera. When you have basically an acquaintance who's more intimate than just simply any woman or any friendly girl, this type of thing, she's my chavera. She's my girlfriend. Or in English, we use the word friend. In English, I would say I have a number of women friends. But if I use the term, I have a number of girlfriends, it sounds a little differently. Girlfriends versus women friends, etc. Or maybe women friends is a polite way of saying I have a number of girlfriends, but I don't want to be accused of having multiple relationships, and therefore I have women friends, etc. I understand that. The word chavera can be used that way. A chavera could be an intimate girlfriend, or eventually will become your isha, and then that will be another situation. Okay, I understand that. The other word that I only use is the word yadid. Yadid also, you would think is more intimate than the word chaver. Yadid is masculine singular. I add my kamatse, 1, 2, 3. This kamatse is now 2 places removed from the accent and reduces to a shana, yadida. I agree with you, Ellie, if this is what you're saying, that the word yadid, okay. All right, it's okay, I'll explain to you. If the word yadid is one that's a more intimate friend, it sounds more. The word yadid, yadida, you can relate to the word yad. The one that's on your hand, the one that you walk with hand by hand is a yadid yadida. I don't see much of a difference, but he's right in saying that a girlfriend is a chavera, and I guess a male friend can be said by a woman, he's my chaver. Though the word chaver, chavera, is also loosely used to refer to a friend himself. So, you know, in the case of the yadid, I can only agree with what you said. Why the separation, why the closest to yadid is not that often chaver, chavera, I cannot say, and maybe by some people, it has that same implication. But you're right in what you said about all that. Okay, back to our words that she's given us here, chaver, chaverah, and, adds to it now, a more intimate friend would be a chaverah, a girlfriend, and a chaver can also suggest a more intimate male friend, I guess. Okay, the word yesh, that word yesh is also tricky. Notice the translation, there is, it can also mean there are. So if I say there is a student in the classroom, yesh talmid bakita, yesh student bakita. Stop it right there. Why am I using two different words? Student is a student. It's a borrowed word, it seems, into Hebrew. Talmid, on the other hand, sounds more Hebraic, more Hebrew. The word Talmid comes from a good word, Lamed Ben Dalet. And again, Hebrew language was not created yesterday. It goes back 3 centuries, 3 millennia, 3,000 years, whatever you want to call it. Lamed Ben Dalet. Any word that has the Lamed, the Mem, the Lamed, the Dalet, deals with learning and also deals with teaching. Amazing. If I take the Lamed Ben Dalet, conjugated in the Minyan Tal, the so-called, basic conjugation, Lomed is to study. If I take the same word and conjugate it in a conjugation known as a piyah that we don't know yet, the word is melamed. Melamed is the fullest one to study. A lomed is a student, and melamed is a teacher. The melamed in Yiddish is a teacher. Now we use the word mored today in Hebrew. But melamed is one who causes you to learn. Now lomed uses the word talmid. Talmid is a student. So how come I use the word student? Student already is fancy schmancy modern Hebrew. One who basically is beyond K-12. Then you become a student. If you go to a Jewish world, you study in the yeshiva. Yeshiva is day and night. You're never called a student there. You're called only a talmid. Because the learning procedure is not academic. That's the difference. Student will be academic secular. Torah learning is not academic secular. It might have some academic ways that are secular, but it's basically a traditional way of learning.
So that's yeshiva.
That's right. And so the words tell me. In any case, I bring this up with you because she has the word here, but she doesn't have it. I don't know why I brought it up, but I just did.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna soon end right now, but let me just end with one more thing. Okay, we'll end with that word, the word kita. That word kita, I already gave you that word already, and notice she has in the brackets a letter nun. That letter nun stands for the keva, feminine. You by now should recognize just the appearance of the word itself, that the word is feminine. Ending with a kamatse is the feminine singular. Ending with a cholam tav is the feminine plural. And go back to the word chaver. The plural chaver, masculine, the chaverim, the masculine plural, and the feminine plural chaverah, the kamatse changes the cholam tav, chaverot. And finally, that word kitab. Let me just have that word for a second. That word kitab. Notice how it's spelled when it's vocalized. Look at that word kitab when it's unvocalized. Does she have the U there? Yeah. See the difference in the two spellings? The proper vocalization of kitab is a confident with a gesh chazak in that tav. When you write Hebrew without vowels, that each sound is captured by putting a tav there. That's what captures the kirik. It's not a long kirik at all. If this were a long kirik, the word should be read as kisap, kisap. The tav letter should follow a vowel that's long, should be therefore continuing and not plosive. And in this case here, it's not a plosive dot, it's like a shazak. It's closing the short kirik underneath the kaf. Yep, you tell a lot of Hebrew to sell it.
Oh, they got I just gave this guy the book, it's called the Hijitas. It's
How's
a-
that?
Hijitas?
The word is kita.
Hijita, yeah.
Always have, hit the last syllable. And
Ta-
finally, one other word. Every word in Hebrew, my goodness, my mind can't stop. I'm sorry. My mind has been trained in the forties and the fifties, is the word machlaka. Machlaka. Get down the word machlaka. Another word that can translate kitab is machlaka. That's a cell phone. Machlaka. Machlaka. Notice the word before I dismiss you. Mach, CVC. Short vowel patat, closed by Dabeshas, Shvanachanit Het. The second syllable is a kamatz and the lamed. It's a short kamatz, should be a closed syllable, there's nothing closing a kamatz. So it's medial. Last syllable is CV with C in brackets. Machlaka. The shorish in the word machlaka is a het, the lamed, and kuf, which means division, separation. Chelek means portion. How interesting, for every root, you got multiple words to write. Chelek, what's your portion? You wanna know that word? It's a common Hebrew word used in religion, Judaism religion. Chelek is portion. Machlaka is division, classroom. Let me just welcome everybody, let me just say to Dalael, or Baruch Hashem, that we have a class. I would have fought it to the last moment. When I tell the student, to the administration, I have a woman, I have a male from Mexico, I have a Marine, and I have Illy who doesn't want to work with Israelis. This class is very diversified. We'll see you, God willing, on Thursday. Okay, I'll be, pick up this review.